If your career as a composer was finished, what would you become? What would you do?
Um, I have to, I have to um, I have to give a little bit more detailed answer to that question because um, even if music would not be my career, I would not stop doing it at all. As long as I have ears and as long as I have hands, I will never stop making music. So yeah, you know, so it's not about career for me, it's about music. And if you love doing music, then you do it, as long as it's possible physically and mentally. And but if like I would have to search for another job because I couldn't make enough money with music, and it would be really hard for me because there is not much I want to do in this world except for music. The only other thing is I would try to write, to become an author, if that's the word in English. Book writer? I don't know. I know the word in German, don't worry. Anyway, I would try it with that, and if that wouldn't work either, I would probably... The only thing I would really enjoy as well is to study etymology and ancient history, and to, yeah, I love those things. So yeah.
Have you ever done a full-length movie composition, like Hans Zimmer doing the Pirates of the Caribbean? And if not, would you like to do so?
I have only been asked once to make an actual movie score for an actual movie, but it was only the title theme, so it was only one song that I did of 4 minutes. It's like the intro of the movie that I made, and I loved it. I adored that work, to work with a director, and I loved that so much, seriously. So if I would get asked again, there is no way I would say no. But yeah, I only got asked once, and yeah, I would love to do it again, definitely.
Where can I find more of Karina's work?
She had a Divine Art account, but she closed it, at least almost, and so it has become a little bit hard to find her artworks. But I am putting the link to her Facebook page in the description of this video, and that's where you can see pretty much everything that she did, pretty much everything that she released for people to see. So yeah, you can find most of her artworks in that link down below, which is from her own Facebook page.
Have you ever thought about recording a song with vocals?
Not really, because I don't really enjoy listening to music with vocals, to be honest. I enjoy lyricless music a lot more. It somehow gives you more space to interpret the music the way you want, because lyrics always have some kind of course they tell about something, and if you listen to the lyrics, they already lead you into one direction as to how to interpret the song. And I don't like that, because I like to make up my own mind about what I hear. And with instrumental music, it's completely open, and everybody can see it the way they want. enjoy choirs, for example, but mostly without lyrics. Choirs without lyrics that don't force words on you, you know, so that it is still instrumental, because there is no person singing words into your ears. So no, I will probably never really do songs with vocals, with actual lyrical vocals.
How did you start to compose music and why?
When I was really, really little, my brother had keyboard lessons, and I was fascinated by that, and I just tried to imitate what he did, and I heard the melodies that he played, and I imitated it. I went on the keyboard and I just pressed the same keys, and that like was maybe the foundation of why my kind of learning and evolving in my music is not based on theory. It is based on listening and reproducing, and it's based on what sounds good. Just generally, what sounds good, and then you do it, you know? It's not about theory. Whatever sounds good and can be made into music. So that's my approach on music. And the question of why is a lot more difficult. And I cannot really explain it, I think. One part may be that I'm not a very communicative person. I always loved to play alone when I was little. I didn't have many friends. I didn't want many friends. I loved to be alone, really, and I often had problems. I still have them. I always had the problem of not being able to express what I feel with actual words, or you know, and music is basically my rescue from that, because in music I can express all of my feelings, and everything that I cannot put into words, I can tell it with music. So I have this urge, like this need to express myself. Every person has the need to express themselves, but since I somehow did not have the possibility of expressing myself with words, or with showing my emotions, that's also a problem. I needed another way, and music was the best way that there was. So, yeah, I think that is the reason.
Karina, when did you first start drawing and other various forms of art? Well, I started drawing since I was really, really young. I always liked to do that, but I only took it more serious 1 year ago. However, I started to work, now I'm at school, so I rarely even practice it anymore. But now I'm also trying photography, but again, I don't have the time, I don't really have where to go to express myself in the way I want. And also I don't have all the gear I would like. There are a few expensive things that you have to pay if you want to really take photography serious, and at the moment I didn't win the Euro Millions, so I guess I will wait till then. When did you write your first piece? How old were you?
That is not very easy to say. I think it is even impossible to say, because I always made up my own melodies, and it's not like there was not like one time when I made the first song, you know, which I could call a song. I always wrote melodies, and you know, and it just evolved, and I can't say which one was my first melody. It was maybe when I was 4. I don't know. And like really, really early songs when I was like 11, 12, I wouldn't call them songs now because they don't have a real progression, you know. They don't go anywhere. But at that time it was a song, and it could count as a song, so I don't know. But I was really always making melodies since I was very, very little. And I'm still doing the same thing, actually. Not much has changed.
What is the instrument you would like to play the most?
Out of all the instruments that I cannot play, it would probably be the harp, because it is so beautiful. It has one of the purest sounds in the world for me. And I also love how it looks, you know. And it is a very beautiful instrument. It looks beautiful and it sounds beautiful, and the way how to play it is very beautiful. It's very elegant, it's very pure and very, yeah. And you can express lots of emotions with a harp. So I would love to play that. Unfortunately, I can't.
Adrian, if you could choose one movie you wanted to make music for, what movie would that be?
I would love the most to write the music for like a really epic fantasy movie, but with a lot of depth and a true love story that really goes deep, you know, nothing shallow, nothing that just relies on special effects and that's that. I would love to write music for a love story actually, but a true one, not one where all kinds of, you know, where the main characters cheat on each other all the time. And I don't like that. I want to write music for true love, and also of course for fantasy worlds, because I'm not very happy with this world, and writing about fantasy is what I do already most of the time, so I would love that. But not The Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit, because I love the music of Howard Shore, and he's an absolute genius, and I would never even dare to try and make music for The Lord of the Rings. So it would really have to be an own movie that nobody did the music yet. Because I would feel pretty inferior to those composers, and I don't want to make, you know, I don't want to reproduce their music because they already did it perfectly, so there is no point in writing it again.
Karina and Adrian, who is the tallest? Well, I am. No, I was in fact, but last winter, not this winter, last winter I was the tallest. But now, when he came in summer, I realized that he was taller than me, and that's not fair. So he grew up. I guess he's the tallest, but only with 1 centimeter. It's not that big. I will be the tallest. Are you religious?
I answered that question in the video some time ago, but my view on it hasn't changed, so I can still answer the same. I am not religious, I am agnostic. That's not the same as an atheist. An atheist says that gods simply don't exist. An agnostic person says that it is impossible to know whether a god exists exists or not, because there is neither proof for one side, neither proof for the other side of the argument, so it is impossible to even discuss this subject. It's like withholding your vote, you know. I don't care to even discuss the argument whether God exists or not, because nobody can tell for sure. And yeah, so I couldn't allow myself to make a judgment on it. I couldn't allow it to myself to make a judgment about something that I know that I don't know, you know.
For Adrian and Karina, what literature has influenced your works? Well, in my case it's Lord of the Rings, also something that Adrian will answer, fairy tales. I was very attached to fairy tales when I was younger. While other kids were playing outside, I used to read the fairy tales and always imagine myself there.
The biggest influence of literature that I had is, you probably guessed it, Lord of the Rings. And yeah, I adore it, and also fairy tales, like really the old fairy tales of the Brothers Grimm. Those have to be my biggest influences when it comes to my own art. Old fairy tales and the Lord of the Rings.
What is the hardest aspect in composing a piece for you?
Writing down the music is usually not that hard when I have the creativity, the inspiration, which thankfully I have a lot of creativity. I don't have like long periods of time where I don't have any ideas. I'm very thankful for that fact, because I wouldn't know what to do otherwise. But the biggest problem about composing is not the composing itself, but to start composing, because I have an inferiority complex, and whenever I hear something inside my head, an idea, a new idea of music, I usually hear all the music in my head and I have to put it down somehow. Whenever that happens, I get my inferiority complex that tells me that I am not good enough to let it sound the way I want it to sound, and that it will not turn out as good as it should be. So the biggest problem that I have to deal with is to get over myself and to, to just start, even if I know that it won't be something in the end I can truly be proud of, because I will know that I could have done it better and that somebody else could have done it a lot better. So yeah, that's my biggest problem, to start anyway.
Do the described emotions and visualizations from the people on your videos coincide with the ones that you get when you compose your music or listen to it?
Many times they actually do, because maybe it is because my approach on my music is very visual, which means that the music I compose has a lot to do with what I see in my mind, which means that I see like scenes in my head, stories, visual stories, and like a movie. So, and I try to put that feeling down into notes that I see in my head. And it's actually very funny to see how people can somehow feel that fact, that my ideas come from a visual origin, and that they produce use the same images inside their heads. That's very funny, very interesting for me to see. I like it a lot when I see that. So yes, it happens a lot.